Are you living like a responsible adult who is doing all the right things, but somehow you feel every now and again you hear the siren call of the glitters and the sparkles of your unicorn inner child calling you home? Are you paying your bills on time, getting glowing reviews from the people you work with, but somehow you keep wondering, is this even my life? Well, if that is you, my dear, I invite you to check out my upcoming Venus and Mars immersion, which is a really special work that we're going to be doing together for 3 months. During the 3 months, we'll explore gentle, grounded, and effective ways to break out of the arbitrary boxes that we've created in our lives. Or maybe we'll even perform some magic to make the box disappear altogether. We will work with body based exercises, astrological mythologies, subtle energy body work, and we'll even do some singing here and there to make gentle shifts that can have really meaningful impact. I've been stress testing these tools for some time now, and I really can't wait to share them in a group setting. I usually work with clients one on one. These are the people who are really going in there with me, experimenting, using their experiences as a laboratory. And I am so thrilled and excited to bring this to more of you. For years, I have been refining the ways that I work with clients and students, and also myself, to really shift out of a rigid understanding of what astrology is and what astrological insights are trying to tell us. Very often, what I see in my clients, in my students, is that people get readings, or maybe even they would download the Chani app, and then they think that what they're reading is either a prison, right? Like what they're reading is their fate, or a kind of prescription for how to live. And in my experience, that is really not the point of astrology at all. So instead, what I want to explore with folks who are interested in this immersion is how we can turn our life experiences, how we can turn our everyday living experience as a human being into a laboratory so you can become the alchemist in your own life. And if that sounds exciting, I encourage you to check out the course page, which is linked below. We begin this coming Tuesday on March 3rd, which is one day before my birthday, and we'll be journeying together all the way to the end of May. We will be meeting twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, which are Mars's days and Venus's days, and we'll be exploring the archetypes deeply so you can wield their energies with a lot of skill. I also want to share with you something that was shared to me by a former student the last time that I ran a Mars immersion. This was in fall 2023. And she said, in my martial arts practice of Aikido, I began to really pay attention to how I was inhabiting my force. And this past week, my senior told me that she can really feel more of my power coming through in my techniques. This week, I also replied a text saying, I am not available to meet again, with no explanation, just direct and kind. It feels new, but with all that learning about separation and cutting, I'm embracing more of me that wants to slice away what is not resonant. So, if that sounds exciting, I would love to have you. And let's get into the energy of March. So, when I tuned into March 2026, I got the most incredible title, which I'm using for this episode. And I decided to just immediately run with it. And the title was Mermaids Are Born to Be Slippery, Swimming in the Dreams of Mythic Time. Mermaids are born to be slippery, swimming in the dreams of mythic time. I love that. Who you are at your essence is so much more mutable, so much less defined than your mind think it is. It is so much less rigid than society tells you that you need to be in order to quote unquote make it. In fact, so much of the violence and the destruction that we see, frankly, is an unnecessary result of people not allowing themselves to just be human. What do I mean by just being human? What I mean is we get to just enjoy the experience of being strange children of the universe who are temporarily dropped on planet Earth, right? We are being asked to play with the plants and with the animals and to develop a relationship with them. We're being asked to gently be fed nourishment by Mother Earth. We get to fall asleep under oak trees, shaded from the rain. And to be sure, there are certainly parts within us that are curious about the experience of more skills, more new experiences, more comfort, more awe. But when we allow this part that wants more to forget that at our core, our essence is not only enough, but our essence is infinite. When we forget about that, we lose our sacred connection to the slippery and nonlinear nature of time and existence itself. Mermaids are born to be slippery. When this phrase came to me, I thought, wow, what an interesting phrase. And it reminded me of the story of The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen, which was published in 1837. This was actually my favorite story growing up. I used to tell it ad nauseum. And it's a story about a mermaid who lived in a sea kingdom with her father and her sisters. And one day, when this young mermaid turned 16, she was given the chance to swim to the surface to witness the world of humans. And she witnessed this festive celebration of a prince's birthday, and she immediately fell in love with this prince. Before the party even ended, a big storm hit the sea. The prince drowned, and the young mermaid swam. She tried to save the prince and she succeeded. She brought him back to shore and she made sure that he survived. She then returned to the ocean, but she found herself spending her days longing about him, thinking about him, wishing that she were with him. And every day she grew more and more restless until one day she made up her mind to just find a solution. So she decided she was going to become human. She asked around, and the other sea creatures warned her this is a very dangerous endeavor. Are you sure you want to do this? Only the sea witch could help you with this, but please be careful because she will not have your best interest in mind. So, our young mermaid went to the sea witch and she asked, can I get legs? Can I turn my fins into legs so I could join my beloved prince? And the sea witch warned her this transformation will be extremely painful. You will become a really skilled dancer, but every single time you use your legs, you will feel the pain. You will lose your fins and you will lose your voice. Moreover, if you want to continue living as a human, you must win the prince's love. Otherwise, you will just turn into foam the day that he weds another person, and you will vanish into oblivion because mermaids don't have souls. So the little mermaid decided that she's going to take that chance, and she said, okay, I will take the leap. My mind is made up. So she then began her journey as a human. She found a prince, they became very close. She became his confidant. Of course, she couldn't speak, so she couldn't express to him how she actually felt for him in words. And despite them being extremely close, he never actually fell in love with her. And eventually, he found out that he had been matched with a neighboring princess. And the moment he met this neighboring princess, he had been looking for this woman who saved him during his birthday, during the big storm. And she thought that it was this neighboring princess who had saved him. And so the night before the wedding, the other mermaids, her sisters, came to the young mermaid and they said, "We've gone to the sea witch and we've given up our hairs so that you can have this dagger. So now what you're going to do is you're going to kill this prince and you're going to let his blood drip into your feet and you will become a mermaid again. You will be reunited with us and with your father." So the young mermaid reluctantly went into the prince's bedroom. And under the moonlight, she saw how peaceful he looked. He was sleeping next to the princess, and they looked so happy together. And in that moment, she realized she couldn't possibly kill the man that she loved with all of her heart. There was no way. So she decided that she was going to throw the dagger into the ocean. And so she did that. She jumped off and she let herself drown. And as her body dissolved, as she surrendered into the ocean, this giant body of water where she came from, she surprisingly found herself turning into this luminous form. And she was curious. Who am I? What is happening? I'm supposed to just vanish, right? That's what the sea witch said. And she was told that she is transforming into the daughter of air. And as she ascended, she was greeted by the other daughters of air who told her that her pure love for the prince, and by extension for all of mankind, has granted her eternal life. I love the story for March because this is not just a fable. This is also a reminder that our time as humans are short. And so anything that we can do to express that love that we have for ourselves, for other people, and for the world at large is really the point of existing. So much of this can get lost in the man made world of transactions. But true love, the kind of unconditional love that the Greeks would call agape, this is the kind of love that transcends any transient feelings of love, right? It's not just about, I love you, therefore I will never let go of you. Because the point is to love the world. And when you love the world, when you love life itself, you get to see that what is best for the other person is also what is best for you. And this mutual investment in what is good for one another is really the point of being here. Another theme that I believe is relevant from the story as we move through the month is the theme of accepting transformation. Transformation is the nature of life, right? Change is God. God is change, as Octavia Butler would say, right? All that we touch, we change. All that we change changes us. The only lasting truth is change. So transformation, change is inevitable. Just as the little mermaid moved through different stages of love, from the more personal love that she had for herself, desiring this experience of having a different reality of being on land, to the interpersonal love that she has for the prince, to ultimately the kind of unconditional love that she has when she saw him and the princess the night before their wedding, sleeping so peacefully under the moonlight, which really represents the joy and the peace of humans that transcend the limits of territories, right? When we think about the wedding between the prince and the princess, it is a metaphor for oppositional forces finally uniting, finally realizing they are not so different after all. When our young mermaid is going through this journey of her love, one might even say the sublimation of the love that she experiences, she then also experiences with each stage a physical transformation, right? From being a mermaid to being human and ultimately becoming the daughter of air. This courage to explore, to love, even when it doesn't look like in the short term that this love is beneficial, that this love pays us back, and this experience of allowing that love to transform us. Love is truly a transformational energy, right? Is something that I encourage all of us to contemplate this coming month. How might my love, which is not just personal, but also something I tap into, this greater force, how can it inspire transformation within myself? How can it inspire transformation throughout my communities and the world at large? What outdated form must I shed as I embrace this love? What comfort zones am I being asked to gently step out of? What new depths am I being asked to traverse? So now let us turn towards the astrology of the month. At the start of the month, we have a very Piscean sky. Mars will enter Pisces on March 2nd, and until the 6th, we have all the personal planets and the Sun and the North Node in Pisces. On the 3rd of March, we have a total lunar eclipse in Virgo, and all of these Pisces planets are, of course, ruled by Jupiter in Cancer. So, the start of March will feel very Piscean. It will bring deep emotional materials to the surface. Old dreams are resurfacing, asking for us to find new Virgoan vessels for them. And new dreams are also entering our consciousness. The first week of March, we may experience a heightened sense of awareness that everything is interconnected. This is a time to enjoy experiencing synchronicities, enjoy receiving messages and inspiration from our subconscious, and also to revisit stories, mythologies, and art from our personal past. For those of you who need to make important decisions, remember that Mercury will be retrograde until March 20th. So I invite you to take your time. There is no rush, even when the waves seem to be rolling with strength and ferocity and intensity. You will find that you benefit from finding internal stillness before you make important decisions, before you sign important contracts, before you have big conversations. Don't forget your tools and your practices. This is a really great time to pick up your meditation practice again if you haven't meditated for a long time. This is also a great time to continue reminding yourself of the value of finding stillness. If you have a practice of connecting with Mercury, this is also a great time to give offerings. Mercury is in a challenging terrain, being in Pisces and also retrograde. And also, Mercury is guided by Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer points to practicing generosity, charity, and nurturing care. If there is an organization for, let's say, the unhoused, the trans community, these are communities that are represented by Mercury, right? These are communities that are in that crack in between worlds that are, neither here nor there. And if you have any mercurial causes that you deeply care about, March is a great time to support the organizations that are doing this work. You may want to donate money, donate your time, contribute to the efforts of the betterment of these people. Mercury retrograde in Pisces can also show up as clogging in the pathways within the body. Pisces is related to the feet in the body. It's also related to the lymphatic system. So, the practice of massaging the feet, soaking the feet in nourishing warm water can be very helpful. The practice of draining the lymphatic system, for example, using gua sha, will be very supportive throughout March. Beginning the 6th of March, Venus will enter the fiery realm of Aries. And soon thereafter, Venus will make a conjunction with, of course, Saturn and Neptune, which was the big astrological event that became exact last month and will continue to mark and color the coming year, the Saturn Neptune conjunction. Venus will also, during her time in Aries, make a sextile with Pluto, and Venus will square Jupiter in Cancer. Venus in Cancer will be quick to anger. Venus in Cancer is hot for confrontation. Relationships will be spicy. Conversations will be loud, which is exciting. And this can also lead to premature burnout. So, especially given Venus's time in Aries this year is happening at the same time that Mercury is retrograde in Pisces, it is especially important to not rush into conclusions. If someone you love said something that hurts you, let them know. Let your hurt feelings be expressed in that moment. Don't repress it. And also, don't hold the grudges. Can you help? Can you practice both at the same time? Can you practice letting your emotions be expressed without hanging on to any stories that might come with that expression of the emotions? Remember that the foundation of trust and love don't disappear simply from one confrontation or one hurtful comment. It is very likely that they don't mean it. It is very possible also that you misunderstood them. It's helpful under this transit to not suppress challenging emotions, but instead notice any tendencies to harbor resentment, notice any tendencies to wallow in difficult feelings, notice the tendencies to enlarge the stories and to use the stories to reinforce past experiences of trauma, and instead use the emergence of these stories and these challenging, overwhelming emotions as an opportunity to let the feelings come up and then to let go of them. The practice of letting go of challenging emotions and challenging stories that are associated with those emotions don't actually always require that much processing. Processing is always nice, processing is very healthy, and also, in order to truly let go, often what is the missing ingredient is the willingness to actually let them go. And sometimes that willingness can be facilitated by integration work, for example, with trusted processors or therapists or healers. But ultimately, without the willingness to actually let them go, you will not let them go, no matter how much work you do. So check yourself, really dialogue with your inner heart. Ask yourself, am I willing to let go of this challenging emotions? And if you are willing, and yet the time is not yet here, the emotions are still here, you don't need to punish yourself. It's okay that the process of letting go takes time, but the willingness has to be there. As a relational practice, get to the root of your misunderstandings with people. As the old saying goes, don't go to sleep angry with your people. This doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. This also applies to other relationships. So resolve misunderstandings, resolve any confusions as two adults, two or more adults who care about one another and who want the best for each other. With Neptune involved in the storyline, remember that everything is not as it seems. People who seem to want to hurt you on the surface might actually have good intentions. They might not be able to express it very well. They might actually be your ally in the journey. And people who seem to support you on the surface might have ulterior motives. Do your best in making no assumptions. So now let's talk about Mars, Venus's lover. Mars is in Pisces all throughout March. Mars will also be co-present with the new moon in Pisces, which is happening on March 18th. And again, the North Node, Rahu, the head of the dragon, will be present. So this new moon on March 18th brings in intensity, right? Mars in Pisces throughout the month is busy dreaming. He is busy visioning. He's busy making connections that aren't always visible to the naked eyes. Mars in Pisces is an artist, but instead of going to war with his swords and spears, Mars in Pisces goes to war with his paintbrush. Mars in Pisces goes to war with his songs, with his dreams. Remember that a big emotional wave is the mother of creative masterpieces. Don't waste your emotions following the crowd. Don't waste your emotions getting caught up in other people's opinions and other people's agenda, especially not the media, especially not the governments who never had your best interests in mind. Instead, follow your dreams. And I don't just mean the vision dreams, I also mean your subconscious dreams. Are there any clues that may seem like nonsensical? Are there any synchronicities or omens or signs both in the sleeping dream, right? As well as in the waking dream, which is life itself. Notice signs coming in and how your internal world responds to it. Because your internal world's response will tell you the kind of world or the kind of worlds that you want to create. What would you like to protect? What is sacred to you? Do you want to see more protection available for children or for planet Earth, for women, for queer people, for indigenous people, for people who have been racialized and marginalized? Do you want to protect animals who have been treated with cruelty? I invite you to stop spiraling in your head. Stop being a finger ninja. Stop leaving angry comments on random posts on Instagram, on TikTok, on any of the social media. That will not solve anything. Instead, find other people in your community who share your views and your missions. Dream with them, build with them. Do you want to see artists or mystics, creatives getting paid a living wage? Then use your resources to support your artist friends. Share their work. Resources are not just money, resources are also time, energy, encouragement. Tell them that their work means something to you. Remind them of the potency of the creative work that is coming through them. Encourage yourself, as in envelop yourself, resource yourself with the kind of courage that is needed to make the courageous next step, the brave next step to make real transformations that you would like to see. You are allowed to have feelings about the state of the world. You're allowed to feel the heaviness of the world moving through you. You're even allowed to complain. But you also need to remember that it is not enough to complain. Complaining is not going to build the world that you want to see. Nobody is going to build the world you want to see but you. Nobody is going to build the world that your community needs unless you and your community get together and rise to the occasion. So stop waiting for saviors, stop waiting for miracles, and instead be the miracles. The Sun will enter Aries on March 20th, the same day that Mercury stations direct. There are two notable transits at the end of the month. One is the Sun conjoining Saturn in Aries on March 25th, and then two, Venus entering Taurus on the 30th, which is at the very tail end of the month. The Sun conjoining Saturn will clarify what Saturn in Aries is all about. The themes that we will be working with will become illuminated as Saturn visits the Sun. Saturn in Aries is about recognizing that sometimes a good, robust structure is not enough. Sometimes what is truly needed is a breakthrough. Saturn in Aries prioritizes short term necessities over long term growth. So notice, are there any areas in your life where you have been delaying because you think you've got time, or because you think you don't have enough resources, enough skills, enough support to realize your vision? And my encouragement would be to get started now. even if it's a small step, don't be shy. Start working on what you love and let yourself do it imperfectly. Finally, Venus will enter Taurus on the 30th, which means that by the end of the month, some of the conflicts and misunderstandings that we've been tending to earlier in the month when Venus was in Aries are now beginning to bear their fruits. Overall, March is ending on a high note, even though we will be moving through very tricky territories throughout March. It brings transformations, conflicts, and questions about what kind of world do we want to birth? What kind of dreams do we want to realize? And it also provides a reminder that we are all part of this giant cosmic family. I hope that this contemplation has been nourishing for you, and I hope that it continues to guide you in where to place your energy, where to place your thoughts, where to place your efforts within the coming month. As always, I encourage you to return to this throughout the month. If you feel called, know that this is a resource that is here for you. Very often, when we listen back to these transmissions, especially as we've been allowing ourselves to live through the transit itself, it sheds new light for us. It helps us refocus, it helps us reimagine the path forward. And for those of you who would like to join the Venus and Mars immersion, our first live session is on Tuesday, March 3rd, which is in a couple days. And by midnight, March 3rd, I will close the enrollment. So if you have any questions about whether this immersion is correct for you, whether it's the right fit for you in your life right now, and if it fits your goals and where you're at, please reach out to me via email or via social media, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Finally, if you would like to support the podcast, there are a few ways you can do this. The first one is to join my Substack. You can become a paying subscriber for as little as $5 a month to support the work, and in exchange, you will receive 1 to 2 bonus episodes, and you will receive an essay and also some written study notes. Starting this month in March, we will be exploring the I Ching together, and we'll be working with the hexagrams chronologically. So if this sounds interesting to you, if this sounds like fun, I invite you to join us. And the second way you can support the podcast is by either leaving a comment if you are listening on Spotify or by leaving a review on Apple Podcast. Even if your review is only 1 to 2 sentences, just know that it is very helpful for the podcast so that other people can find the podcast and also benefit from this work if this has resonated with you, which I am assuming it does because you are listening all the way to the very end. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a beautiful March, and I really look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. I'm sending you so much love, and I hope you take good care of yourself.